Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And for fans of Spider-Man, that world has been chaotic to say the least. Aside from everything going on with Sony and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, following Spider-Man comics has often been a test in pain tolerance and heartbreak. It really is hard to overstate how frustrating it's been, following Spider-Man's evolution/regression since the infamous One More Day story. But then, with the creation of a new Ultimate Universe, Spider-Man fans got a much-needed ray of hope. Jonathan Hickman, in addition to setting up this new Ultimate Universe, gave us an all-new, all-different Ultimate Spider-Man. And this vision for Peter Parker and the world around him was both refreshing and cathartic. Forget the never-ending drama of Peter being a teenage superhero. Forget him always regressing in life, usually ending up on his Aunt May's couch while struggling to pay his bills. This version of Peter Parker is happily married to Mary Jane Watson. They have two adorable kids together, Richard and May. There's also no Mephisto, no clones, none of that crap. We just have this older, more mature Peter Parker navigating this new Ultimate Universe. And Ultimate Spider-Man #1 had him taking his first steps towards becoming the amazing icon we know and love. And for me personally, it was one of the best Spider-Man comics I've read in decades. It didn't just give us a happily married Peter Parker, it gave us a unique vision of Spider-Man, one who chose this path after learning it had been taken from him. And given how often becoming Spider-Man is an accident, that kind of choice carries a lot of weight. Now, in Ultimate Spider-Man #2, we see what Peter does with that choice, and we see how he deals with this in a world that has already become a mess thanks to the Maker's manipulations. It's got a tough act to follow, and since the first issue left me so excited, expect some major spoilers from here on out. But seriously, this is quite possibly the best time to get into a Spider-Man comic, and that's something I haven't been able to say with a straight face for years. Now, even though this version of Peter Parker is an adult, becoming Spider-Man still comes with a lot of growing pains. And much of Ultimate Spider-Man #2 has him navigating those pains, all while still being a supportive family man. The world around Peter has also taken notice. Since he got his powers, the image of this new black-suited Spider-Man is already in the papers, courtesy once again of the Daily Bugle. But he's not yet taken seriously. They don't even call him Spider-Man yet. Even Peter's kids debate on whether it's just Photoshop or CGI. And in a world forged by the Maker, that's not wholly unreasonable. But when he's not humoring his kids, Peter is still trying to get a feel for being Spider-Man, and his efforts are less than successful. Adult or not, suddenly getting superpowers doesn't mean he's good at using them. Sure, he's got the strength, speed, agility, and spider sense, but something as simple as sticking the landing, that's a work in progress. And while it's somewhat amusing to see adult Spider-Man struggle as much as a teenager, I think it also provides an important perspective. Like so many other versions of Peter Parker, he has to learn how to be a superhero. And learning involves struggling, failing, and frustration, and that's something that gets glossed over a lot with other superheroes. Sure, we see them learning and training, but we don't always see them failing outright. And since Peter has no guidance or mentor, once again thanks largely to the Maker, he basically has to teach himself in this new Ultimate Universe. And allowing him to struggle, that really works here. It helps make this version of Peter Parker feel more human overall. And that really does matter when so many younger versions of Peter slip into teenage angst and melodrama. But while he's learning and struggling, there are other issues unfolding, spinning directly out of what happened at the Daily Bugle. In the first issue, we saw J. Jonah Jameson is still a hard-headed blowhard, but in this new Ultimate Universe, he's dealing with things that have little to do with Peter Parker or Spider-Man. And Peter's Uncle Ben is dealing with those same issues. Beyond just being alive in this universe, he's been working with Jameson for years. He was also there when the Daily Bugle was taken over from them by Wilson Fisk. And shortly after that, an ultimate version of the Green Goblin made an attempt on Fisk's life. This happened around the same time that Peter got his powers, but for once, Jameson isn't focused on Spider-Man. He sees that as a distraction for another major story that's unfolding, one that involves both Wilson Fisk and this new Green Goblin. And Ben Parker agrees with him. And while they start following this story, Peter gets his first chance to take down a criminal. In this case, it's a new version of the Shocker. Now, in terms of Spider-Man fighting crime, it's pretty basic. And in this first test of true heroism, Peter ends up failing spectacularly. It's not too brutal. It's actually kind of funny in that he tries to talk to Shocker, trying to connect with him rather than fight him. That earns him a blast that sends him into the nearest dumpster. It's not the worst defeat he could suffer, but it's hilariously appropriate given his limited experience and unique sensibilities. Because remember, he's not an impulsive teenager. He's a mature adult. Throwing the first punch isn't his first instinct. For most people, that helps them avoid conflict. But in this case, it got Peter covered in garbage. But in his defeat, he returns home where he faces another complication. His daughter, May, ends up seeing him and smelling him. It makes for a sweet but powerful moment between father and daughter, because May is officially the first one to uncover Peter's identity. The fact that this is happening in only the second issue makes that remarkable, given how much Peter guards his identity in other universes. But there's also something oddly appropriate about Peter's youngest child learning he's Spider-Man. Even though he doesn't have that title yet, him willingly sharing it with May like this, it's both adorable and revealing. It's yet another indication that this is a different kind of Spider-Man, but one who still has the heart of the hero we know and love. At the same time, the villains in this new Ultimate Universe are still as heartless as always. We see that Kingpin did indeed survive the attempt on his life, but this concern goes beyond just someone in a glider trying to kill him. This is where we also meet up with Captain Britain, who is part of the Maker's Council. It makes for some quality connective tissue with other Ultimate titles, because the Maker's Council is still working hard at retaining their power after the loss of the Maker. Wilson Fisk just happens to be part of that structure, and the Council does not like the idea of someone coming after them or their associates. At the moment for them, Spider-Man isn't a concern. He's a distraction, which effectively confirms Jameson's suspicions from earlier. Their primary concern for now is the Green Goblin, who we still don't know much about in this universe. But you get the sense that he, Wilson Fisk, and Captain Britain have all the advantages still, because Peter is so new at this, and he's struggling to learn the ropes of being a superhero. He does end up getting another chance to take down Shocker, and he's a little more direct this time. He knows just talking the man down won't stop him, so he tries to use the strength and agility that usually serves Spider-Man so well. However, this version of Shocker just happens to be a bit more competent than most, because he ends up playing some mind games with Peter, pretending he's just stealing money to help pay for his wife's medical treatments. And Peter, being so new and naive, believes him just long enough to get his ass kicked again, resulting in another trip to the dumpster. So that means that this new Ultimate Spider-Man is 0 for 2 in his vigilante career. Not a good start by any measure. But he is starting to draw more attention to himself, most notably from the Green Goblin. Given his struggles, that doesn't necessarily bode well. Peter even expresses some real doubts as he heads home. But unlike so many other versions of Peter Parker, who seem eager to give up on being Spider-Man at least once a month, he doesn't get discouraged. In fact, a note from his daughter is all it takes to encourage him again. And if that doesn't give jaded Spider-Man fans a warm and fuzzy feeling inside, then I don't know what will. Ultimate Spider-Man #2 is a remarkable issue in that Peter loses and struggles a lot, but you never get the sense that he's discouraged or disheartened. He may doubt himself, but he never despairs, and he never outright regrets the choice he made in the first issue. As a superhero, he is still a work in progress, and given the events unfolding with the Green Goblin, he'll need to progress quickly. But with his family by his side and his adorable daughter's encouragement, you just know he'll find a way. Because ultimately, that's what makes him Spider-Man. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, take care and stay safe.